Okie doke. So, hello everyone, and thank you very much for your time today. As mentioned earlier, my name is Julio Petrovitch. I'm the product manager for the wireless tools on NetAlly. And many of you guys have been asking, besides all the cool stuff we've been announcing, all where we're going and so on, what's up with the existing products? Hey, what's going on with my AirCheck G2? Or what will happen with my Link Runner? What's new with Link Live? And that's where I come in. Basically, I will provide a quick update on the products, new releases, and what's going on with them. And quick overview first. So we'll start by talking about product updates and news. So what's new with the products? After that, we'll focus on some of our products like the AirCheck G2 and Link Live. And we'll also talk a little more about the new Link Live API. So first, let's start with the news. Starting on August 1st, so a few weeks ago, all new handheld products, including AirCheck, Link Runner, etc., now are branded with the NetAlly logo. So if you recently acquired one of our products, they will say NetAlly. And we have a little picture here, so basically how they will look with the new logos on the bags and everything. Not only that, starting today, so feel free to try it out, the new software version for the AirCheck G2 version 4.0 is now available for download on Link Live. Not only that, a new version of Link Live, also version 4.0 by Casualty, is also available. So feel free to check it out. And then now you may be wondering, cool, so there's new stuff out there. So what's new? And basically, there's a few things. And let's start talking about the AirCheck and Link Live. So, and we'll go into the details in a few moments. This is just like a little overview. First, we'll be talking about Wi-Fi 6 or 802.11ax visibility on the AirCheck. We also have iPerf test results on Link Live. We'll be talking about log files on Link Live. And something that's different and completely new, Wi-Fi analysis through Link Live. So let's dig down into the details here. Wi-Fi 6. As you guys know, even though there's not a lot of Wi-Fi 6 clients out there, there's a lot of APs. Most or many of the vendors already have AX or Wi-Fi 6 access points out there. And a lot of our customers or a lot of businesses have been moving on, let's say, migrating from 802.11n to AX. Hey, why do AC if there's new AX APs out there? And hey, there might be some people that has AC access points and decided to migrate to AX just because of the new improved efficiency that the technology provides. So as part of that, we wanted to give all of our users visibility on those AX devices. So if you're installing a new AX network or Wi-Fi 6 network, you'll be able to see if your devices are configured to support HE, or high efficiency. Maybe by mistake, someone configured it to use VHT. So now you'll be able to see that and see, hey, yep, seems to be configured correctly. I'm supporting AX in there, or HE. Not only that, you'll be able to see the same for any networks. So are my SSIDs configured correctly? Am I supporting the new HE or AX? And of course, you'll have more details about the devices, like beamforming, AMPU, data rate, number of streams, NCS, and so on. So basically, the idea is that now you'll be able to identify if your devices are configured correctly. Are they supporting the new HE technology or Wi-Fi 6 technology? Are there any clients that are connecting at AX speeds besides the Samsung 10 out there? So basically now you get that visibility into a new technology to help you identify any devices, validate configuration on your new network, and so on. Besides Wi-Fi 6, we also have the iPerf throughput test results on Link Live. So as you guys may remember from last year on version 3.0, most of the test results on version 3.0, basically of the AirCheck, are now uploaded to Link Live. So you can see session files, you can see packet captures up there, you can basically share profiles with everyone on your team. But another thing we wanted to add is also the throughput test. So one thing we're doing here is now, after you run your iPerf test, you'll see that that information is now uploaded to Link Live. So when you go to Link Live, you'll be able to see your throughput test results. But not only that, you'll also get an indication on pass or fail. Let's say green, yellow, or red. So if you have a tech on a remote site, for example, and people is complaining about slow speeds and so on, you can tell the guy, yeah, go down there, take your AirCheck, run a quick iPerf test. He doesn't need to know what's good or what's bad. You can go to Link Live, look at the test results, and do your own analysis. Or is the throughput I'm getting good enough or not? So all that's now available to improve collaboration between sites or teams. Yes?
Is there a place on there you can tell where the iPerf server was in the network that you're hitting?
That's a good question. Yes, you can. So as part of the comments, even though I don't think this example has one here, but as part of the comments, you can specify on which part of the network the test was collected. Not only that, let's say that you install the iPerf test accessory on a specific, switch, and you leave it there 24/7. So one thing you can do is you can assign a name to a test accessory and say switch A, port X, or whatever. And that basically, the name of that test accessory will show up in here. You'll be able to know basically where it's at.
Yeah, there's a big difference between behind the AP and across the WAN link.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, Keith, when the test accessory is plugged in, it reports its results just like a link sprinter, right? We added that recently. And so you'll actually see, it's not directly correlated to that result, but if you looked back in time a couple steps, you would see the moment where the test accessory was plugged in, you'd see the CDP or LLDP port information. You know exactly what switch slot port it was plugged in, and then probably a result or two later, you would see.
Does Link Live correlate?
No, it doesn't. It's a great thought though.
Or correlate, I have one behind the AP, one at the edge, and one back across a WAN link, and then correlate those.
Yeah, what you could do is you could plug it in. Again, it's not automated as automated as it probably could be, but you plug the first one in, it would send you the test result email. You could reply, which would tag it with the location, and then in Link Live, it'd be more of a chronological correlation, but you'd at least be able to have a sense of the two TAs. You'd know the addresses and then the target IPs from the iPerf test on the AirChecks.
So for that remote user who's holding it, will they? Can you send them do this and then this? From a workflow standpoint, rather than just say go downstairs and hit it.
Yeah.
Go downstairs and hit this one, then this one, and then we can differential the two and say you have a wireless problem, you have a backhaul problem.
Technically, you can. It won't be automatic, where basically, for example, on a profile, that will automatically run both. But as part of the iPerf test selection screen, where you can select which test accessory you want to test against, you can tell the local technician, for example, run your test first against test accessory number 1. And then that will be automatically uploaded. Then repeat the test, but against test accessory number 2. That will be automatically uploaded, and so on if required.
Thank you.
It's a good idea, though, that if you could configure a profile that will automatically just like tuk, 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 tuk. And keep that thought, because maybe you're hitting into something there. So anyway, moving on. Another thing we're doing, and we've been asked about this one for a while, is log files or roaming information on Link Live, where basically you now will get visibility from Link Live on the roaming process. So on the past, for example, you ran with your AirCheck, your roaming test. You walked around, you will see the graph, you'll have all the log information. But that log information stayed inside the unit or using the AirCheck Manager application. You could look at the logs. But it didn't make it to Link Live. Now, though, you have the opportunity or the option to share that information with someone else by uploading it to Link Live as part of the session file. So you'll be able to see from the comfort of your home or office, using your laptop or your tablet, what happened during that roaming process. So you'll be able to see everything from when we start looking for a new access point, when we find one, connect, roam, etc. And you can do your analysis remotely without having to be on site or do the walk around. Again, improving that collaboration, making it easier to access information on remote sites or to just keep records of all the testing you've done. Notice that this also applies to the connection test or the connection logs. So you run a connection test, you want to see what happened during that test, all that information is now shared and uploaded to Link Live 2. So you get all that extra visibility out there. Not only that, we also added a new feature on Link Live called the Wi-Fi analysis, on which basically all the information captured on a session file from the AirCheck is not only visible. For example, you guys may remember that on version 3.0, you could upload the session file, and you had basic visibility on Link Live on what was in that session file. But now you can go beyond that. Now we have a specific section called Wi-Fi analysis that allows you to look at all the information on the session file, including the logs that we mentioned a few moments ago. And here you'll be able to see and do, say, correlation between data. For example, we can see here channel information, anything from utilization to number of APs, number of clients, interferes, and so on. So in the past, if you wanted to see, okay, I have X number of APs in there, but which are those APs? Basically, you have to manually go back and forth between tables and figure out, okay, so these APs are working on channel 1, for example. Now we simplified that workflow by allowing you, for example, to just click on the number of APs and now showing you, okay, on channel 1 you have these 13 APs. And then if you want from there to see how many clients are connected to each AP, you can do that. So basically that workflow of analyzing the data that's included on the AirCheck session file is now a lot easier out there. And it, like I mentioned, ties to the connection logs too. Again, the idea is to help simplify the process of analyzing the data in this case and making not only the AirCheck as data collector or Link Live a repository for the data, but also an analysis repository in place for you.
Would that be data you collected, standing still, or would that be data you collected, like, walking around a facility? And
so anything on the session file. So basically, the way it works with the AirCheck, as soon as you turn it on, it starts saving all the information it's scanning into what we call a session file. So you could just stand here and for half an hour and collect the data there, but you could also just start walking around, and until you click the save button, basically all that data will go into what we call the session file. Then you can basically, after half an hour walking around the building, let's say, save the data and upload those results. So basically anything that's on the session file will get uploaded. It could be from a specific spot, or it could be from a walk around that you performed or did. Next, we also, because of popular demand, added an API. So a lot of our customers have been asking us for a way to create their own custom reports, for example. Yeah, I want to have this specific data, and I want to put it in this way or that way. Or maybe they just want to integrate with a monitoring system. Let's say they have a ticketing system or an alarm system. And they run a test, and they want to make sure that the data doesn't just stay on Link Live, but that it makes it to their system automatically. So if there's a problem, they have everything on one place. So now for Link Live, we have a new API that will basically allow you to interact or interface with other systems. So you can create your own API if you want. Or sorry, you can create your own integration if you want. And that will give you access to all the test results. Notice that this is not only for the AirCheck, but if you have Link Runner G2 test results, Link Sprinter test results, LRAT test results, OneTouch test results, basically everything that's saved on Link Live will be accessible through the API. So you get access to all that data. Like I mentioned, you can create or integrate with other systems as required. You can create your own analysis tools. So let's say that you want to basically create something beyond what we provide analysis-wise. You have all the data there. So let's say you want to create a trend chart of what happened. Like, for example, you mentioned walking around. I was walking around here. I see how the signal strength, for example, the noise or the SNR changes. But I want to see that as a trend over time, like we saw earlier. So you could basically just use the API to pull all the data from those session files and create your own trends or your own charts if you wanted to. And of course, you can create your own custom reports. So now you can just pull the data out and manipulate it as required, create your own reports. You have a specific format that you want to use. You want to use your own logos. You have some specific data that you want. Now with the API, it's a lot easier to do that. So anyway, guys, those are the biggest, yeah.
Can you hold up a second?
Yeah, sure.
That's great. How do I get access to that?
That's a very good question. And it's basically on Link Live. On the help section, we have more information. We can also feel free to let me know, and we can share documentation on the different commands and, of course, the URL used to access the API.
So is it public, or is it? Oh, okay. So the help will have all the information about.
That's correct.
Access? Okay.
Yep. Yes.
The move to Link Live, obviously incredibly powerful, incredibly flexible, a lot of features. There are still a ton of organizations that are very, very, very cloud averse. And so it's a little disappointing to see that you're requiring Link Live in order to get the latest firmwares and things like that. And so it creates a disconnect between organizations that can't stomach having their data in the cloud versus not being able to get features. How do I reconcile getting, for example, the new firmware with some requirement to go to the cloud?
That's a great question. So we completely understand. We have multiple customers that, like you mentioned, for security reasons or X or Y, they will not or can't use a cloud service. In the case of the AirCheck, we still have the options of, for example, downloading the firmware or installing the firmware through the manager or to the USB port. Notice though, and I think this is where your question is going, as part of the new website that was made available like today, you may have noticed that the firmware download is not available in there.
Correct.
The reason for that is that we're still working on it. But it will be available on the website. Meanwhile, though, if you need to download a copy of the firmware, feel free to call our tech team or support center. They will provide it to you.
Okay.
But it's still available.
Okay, it actually says on the website, in order to do this, you have to go to Link Live. So there isn't a contact support, there isn't anything. The message is pretty clear.
Yep, and we changed that like 15 minutes ago. Yes, someone did notice that earlier, And I was like, well, yeah, that's not about right. So yes, we did update that on the website, and I apologize for the messaging confusion there. But yes, you for now at least, until we make these firmware available for download there, feel free to contact TAC. They will provide you with a copy of the file, and then you can manually update the units with the manager.
Perfect.
Or with a thumb drive. There's also a third option in there too.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course, if you want to use Link Live, feel free to use it too. So anyway, guys, those are the biggest updates I have on the AirCheck G2 Link Live. Feel free to play around with all those. There's also other stuff that for the other products, regretfully because of time constraints and because we won't be able to cover everything in here. But feel free to let me know if you have questions later about the specific product, specific features, any other enhancement requests or things you would like to see in the future. Let us know. Yeah.
Actually, it seems like every year we throw out a new challenge to you. So I want to throw one out, and I'm probably going to get booed down for this just a little bit, because there's definitely some questions that have to be kind of answered in the process of implementing this. But I would love it from the, like for example, the AirCheck, to have configuration profiles that a technician could plug into a port, check it, verify it, and then maybe even have a button that they can press to say configure for access point that has on the back end something I've already loaded where it's here's the VLAN here's the type of device, right? So it's Cisco iOS or it's Aruba OS or whatever. Put it in this VLAN. Put these basic configurations on that port.
So basically something where you could plug in, let's say, your Link Runner or your AirCheck into an access point, and it will just upload or load a profile with pre-configured settings for that.
Yeah, for the port that you're plugged into, and then of course it's going to see the port go down, come back up, and then it can verify that those settings are there. If I had the option of giving them the device and they've got three choices, for maybe access point, phone and data, or just phone, for example, or maybe just data. And they could just with those buttons choose those settings. That'd be fantastic.
So you're talking about it logging into the switch, reconfiguring the port. So obviously you need to give it username, password, or something.
Hash. A hash. Password hash and username, and maybe even I'd probably dedicate a user to that device.
And then it works out which port to configure based on its
CDP or LDP.
That's a pretty interesting idea. I know, for example, with the Link Runner G2, as you guys may or may not know, it's basically Android-based. So you can install, for example, an app for X switch or for X vendor or Y. And you can, for example, use, let's say, a USB to serial cable, plug it in, and then just configure the switch, for example, that way. In this case, though, it's more of an automatic thing instead of just manually plugging in, blah, 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 blah. It's more of a upload a profile, restart, and it's ready to go. I think that's something we could look into. That's an interesting idea there. Again, it goes into simplifying that process for the guys in the field to configure, in this case, access points or switches.
Right. Julio, I can't remember if we talked about this last year, Mobility 3 or not, but is it a hardware or software limitation in the AirCheck G2 with regards to PoE charging of that device?
So it is a hardware limitation indeed. So, and that's the reason we don't have a PoE charge on the AirCheck. Different from the Link Runner G2, where the hardware was designed from the beginning with that in mind, and it has the hardware there that allows it to charge through the PoE.
So maybe with the Air Runner G3 that's coming out.
Hey, I can't talk too much about that, but oh man.
Copyright, trademark.
There you go.
Actually, I have a question for James with Mr. PoE from the history.
Microphone.
Would it be possible via today's PoE on switch ports to make a little dongle, little as in not nearly as big and heavy as the current G2 charger, that I could just have it take PoE and use that for a charger and keep that in my bag rather than, I mean, I'd pay a lot of money to have a little PoE charger, even though the hardware inside doesn't do it. I don't know electronics of PoE enough, but is that possible?
It's like a PoE converter from PoE to AC,
15
to AC,
volts,
basically.
right?
Yeah.
Or, 15,
That's
was it
PoE to
15 volts DC, right?
DC?
Okay, yeah. So actually, there's nothing I can think of that would prevent that. One of our biggest challenges in PoE has just been it's kind of the great thing about standards is there's so many to choose from, right? So we have some of the early proprietary stuff that's mostly gone, but different classes of PoE. Then UPoE spun off of Cisco. That was its own thing. There's
Just a
CDP
straight
power negotiation.
AF.
But I think in AF, AF is easy to solicit, right? It's a basic. I think it's a 25K ohm resistor
it's just a
across a pair, and away you go. And then we'd have to do a little bit of isolation. So sometimes in PoE, one of the bigger challenges is the isolation. Because you can't, part of the IEEE standard is you cannot have any return paths off of that switch port. And so that would add a little bit of electronics, but again, doable. Yeah, that's actually a universal PoE to NetAlly tool dongle. Yeah, charger.
And you could even put it in the same link printer case.
Yeah.
You don't even have to re-engineer it.
Yeah, you're right.
There you go.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
You could even put it in there for free.
He'll pay a lot for it. That doesn't mean I will. No.
Okay, though, guys. Any other feedback? Any other ideas? Again, feel free to share with us.
Are you thinking of adding a AX radio in the next product to do like packet captures, for instance?
Without going into too much detail, but answering your question, yes, we are thinking about it.
Okay.